Hi everyone, it's Don and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Well, as the Alaska season is kicking off in 2024, just getting underway, a few ships are there about to head into the busy summer schedule. Well, one city out in Alaska has said, you know what? We have too many cruise ships and too many visitors. And so in 2026, one of the most popular Alaska cruise ports is saying, we're going to slow down. That's right. The city of Juneau, Alaska, where you are going to be able to go up to Mendenhall Glacier. You're going to be able to walk out to Nugget Falls. You're going to be able to tour around different areas, go whale watching. It is definitely the most popular port out there for whale watching. And it's also the largest city you're going to visit when you go to Alaska. Well, they are now saying that, yeah, we are having too many people come and visit. For instance, back in 2019, they had 1.3 million people go through the city of Juneau on cruise ships, and now in 2024, they're expecting 1.64 million going through. Now, it's very true that the city does basically survive mostly on tourism. The amount of people out there that survive doing tourism is like right up there with any other job out there. In fact, it's probably about 40% of the city's income as far as jobs are concerned out there in the populace. One thing that is definitely going on is the limit that they're going to start doing. Now, I'm glad to see one thing. They were calling on complete restrictions on Saturdays. No cruise ships in port on Saturdays, which would mean all the cruise lines would have to jumble their schedules around, etc. You would probably see more sailing days than you would see port days starting in Alaska. You wouldn't see the big three. You wouldn't see Ketchikan, Skagway, and Juneau. You'd start missing one of those ports if they had to jigger their schedules, all their ships around every other cruise line themselves, portability, and now no stopping on Saturdays in Juneau, because the distance to travel, you're not going to head up to one, go back to the other, and then continue on your way. You're going to have to rearrange your schedule some way that makes sense economically for your own cruise line. Well, they've done away with that. They're not going to do that, but they are saying that they're going to limit the cruising to 16,000 people on most days, with a limit of 12,000 on Saturdays, down 4,000 people, basically one large cruise ship. Now Alaska is a little bit different, because Alaska is one of those cruise ports that people love to get off at, right? There are ports like Nassau that people will go and they'll stay on the ship. They said, I'm happy spending the day by the pool and eating the free food that's on the ship, as opposed to spending money in port. But when you go to Alaska, people want to explore. They want to head out and do things. And I'm already noticing something from my trip this year to Alaska just a few weeks ago on the Majestic Princess. One of the things I noticed when I was in Juneau, something that used to cost me $12, this time cost me $89. And I'll give you an example. We decided to head out and walk down to the Nugget Falls and also see Mendenhall Glacier. Well, there used to be a bus that you used to jump on. It would run regularly back and forth from the cruise port, and you would just get on it, head out there, drop yourself off, and then stand in line to get on the bus to head back at your convenience. You want to spend 2 hours there, you could. You want to spend 8 hours there, you could, depending on how long your ship was in port. They ran all day, roughly every 20 minutes or so. Well, now, because they are staggering the times that cruise ships are arriving and things like that, we noticed that there is now a time limit. That's right. You are no longer just getting on a bus, heading out there, and then jumping on the next available bus back. You are now assigned buses and times. So for instance, ourselves, we had exactly 2.5 hours. We were driven out there. We had to wait for a specific bus. We got out there, and then we had a specific bus to take us back. And all that for the low, low price of $89 a person doing this. So the prices have not only gone skyrocketing out there, they've changed the system so that now you are spending less time out at the location, or at least the possibility of less time. A lot of people, 2.5 hours is plenty of time. But during the salmon season, when the salmon's running out there, they have this bear walk area that you can walk through. There's lots of nature watching. If you want to spend more time out at Nugget Falls, if you want to take more pictures at Mendenhall Glacier, you want to spend more time up in the observatory. 2.5 hours just doesn't cut it, but that's all you're going to have now. And if you don't do it and you miss your bus, they don't let you just buy a ticket on the other buses. So you are set, much like a tour now. It's more like a tour than a driving up and down. And what I'm saying to myself is, well, wait a minute. They're talking about adding transit and everything that the cruise lines are actually paying towards. So what cruise lines actually pay is that they have a $5 assigned per passenger cruise ship addition. But that's also has another $3 add-on that is for ports and development fees, and a $5 state of Alaska commercial passenger vessel fee. So altogether, they're paying $13 a person. Now, some of that money, some of the $5 and everything, is supposed to go to the parks and ensure that the visitors of Juneau from the cruise ships, their things that they use, like the transit system, like the boardwalk, like the cruise terminals, are all being updated and well maintained. Well, now we're getting the tour groups. Fine, we have tours and everything, but it's costing us 5 times as much as it did just 2 years ago to do the same thing for less time. And I'm noticing that this time around more than I ever did. So while I'm seeing some good signs, like this is a good sign that they didn't just cut Saturdays altogether, and 16,000 people is still a lot of people, but when you think that there's sometimes 5, 6 cruise ships arriving in Juneau on the same day, that can add up really, really quickly. 4 ships holding 4,000 passengers quickly add up to that 16,000, and then what do you do with the other 2 ships? So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how the cruise lines juggle this, and not to mention, now that this is done in one town, what are the other towns going to say? Are they going to want to start doing the exact same thing? I don't mind the cap. It seems like a reasonable cap at least. It's not like Bar Harbor that just went ridiculous as far as I'm concerned. For the business portion of it. I'm talking business, not for the town, not for anything. I'm talking for those people who survive on cruise ships. That decision of just 1,000 passengers per day was ridiculous. So it wasn't, they could have limited to 1 cruise ship. At least that would have been something that the businesses could have worked with. Instead, they just went gung crazy. But in Alaska, that seems to be a good decision. But they got to also start doing something that makes it better for the consumer when they get there. And the pricing right now is so expensive. $300 and some for whale watching per person. $800 and some if you want to go up to the glacier in a helicopter. $500 canoe rides to like it's becoming, and now just a regular bus to get to a park that you just walk around on your own, not shuttled, not escorted, not done anything, not toured, is nearly $100 per person, and you have a limited time while you're there, even though you're in port for maybe 12 to 15 hours. I think people are going to start noticing that real quick, and Alaska might be really, really popular. You know, I love going there. This was my 26th trip. Maybe the price now might just start scaring a few people away. Let me know in the comments down below. Do you think this is a good decision? Do you think there's a good compromise? Do you think the prices are getting out of hand? I have a feeling the majority of people are going to say, yeah, I think that's a little ridiculous. Well, I hope you appreciate this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. Want to see more tips, more tricks, more travel vlogs from around the world? Hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have yourself a safe and a great vacation.